Graham, good to see you.
Hi, Mark.
I guess the disappointment that you didn't pick up 3 points against Norwich, but to stop that losing run, how much has that changed the dynamic around the training ground and just given everyone a little bit of a lift?
I think it was a performance as well, Mark, to be honest. I think it was... I can't think of too many more dominant performances we've had in the Premier League in my time. So obviously when you don't score, there's still that bit, but in terms of the performance was as strong as we've had. So that combined with, like you said, to stop the run of defeats was important. And now we have to build on that.
Up next, Arsenal in the Premier League. What's the team news?
Well, Adam Webster's made some more progress, so has been training a little bit with the group. He may be involved at the weekend, we'll see. Not starting anyway, but it might be involved in the squad. Adam Lallana's taken another step forward as well, so closer to being involved. Apart from that, we're pretty much as we were.
Adam will be in the squad or closer to being in the squad?
We'll make a decision probably tomorrow, but more likely to be in the squad, I would say now.
Brilliant. I think it's a safe assumption to say that you were sat at home on Monday night watching Monday Night Football, Arsenal against Palace, because obviously Arsenal being your opponents. Are you sat there watching this thinking this Palace team is dismantling Arsenal, which is great to see because that's given me ideas, or are you sat there thinking the reaction is going to come when we face them the following week?
Well, you sit there going, well, it's Monday night at Selhurst Park. It's a different environment to Saturday afternoon at the Emirates. That's the first thing, and that's actually quite an important factor. I mean, the crowd get involved there. We know that for sure from our experience. So it's a tough game. I think Crystal Palace did it well. They played well. You could see the quality that Arsenal have, even though it probably wasn't one of their strongest performances. But I think Mikel, on the back of I think he's the manager of the month, and that's normally a bit of a curse for people as well. Previous to that, very impressive with performances and results. So you have to sort of analyse it, zoom out a little bit from just that night, and understand how good Arsenal are and what they do, and the challenge for us. So not necessarily to focus too much on Monday night at Selhurst Park.
One of the issues of recent form has been goal scoring. You've only scored one in your last 7 Premier League matches, but in those 7 games you've dominated possession in 5 of them. The 6th was 50-50 against Manchester United. How do you turn that possession and that dominance with the ball into goals?
Well, that's the challenge. I think if you look at our performance against Norwich, it was closer to what we want to look like. In terms of possession in itself is not that important. It's about what you do with it, like you say. And I thought we created chances, had shots, even though there was a challenge in terms of where we were shooting and the decision around the shooting. But in terms of the positions we were getting into, the type of chances we created, close to what we want to be. Sometimes the scoreline can affect the game. If you're down in the scoreline, the opponent can sort of sit back a little bit. There's lots of factors to it. But for us, as I said before the Norwich game, we wanted to try and attack a little bit better than we have been. We acknowledge that challenge. I mean, we've never been a free scoring side, I would say. We've always been that type of team, but it's something that we try to do better.
Final question from me. It's about the Champions League and UEFA. They are reserving places for the Champions League based on historical performances. Now, it might seem a little bit of a distant target for Brighton, but when you look at some of the teams like West Ham and Wolves and teams that are punching in and around that area, what's your kind of take on this historical performances and UEFA sort of almost deciding who they want to play in the Champions League?
Well, I haven't had a long time to digest it or think about it. Instinctively, I'd be a little bit concerned because it takes away from the achievements in a domestic season. So I guess something like Leicester would have suffered for that when they won the Champions League. So that's something to consider. If I'm being a cynic, it's UEFA looking after the the big clubs and keeping that together. But I haven't digested it enough or thought about it enough to give anything more intelligent. And sorry, Mark.
That's quite all right. Thank you.
Graham, when you've been analysing Arsenal this week, what have you made of the progress Ben White has made over the past 9 months?
Well, he's certainly made progress, I would say, and congratulations to him and Mikel and the staff there, because he's taken a step. I think when we made the sale, we thought that would happen, because he's a good age, a good person, good player, good qualities. I think it's Arsenal deserve credit. They identified him, they paid the fee, and they recognised what it was that they wanted, and they've used it well. Got off to a shaky start in terms of, I think it was the first game of the season against Brentford, but I think from then he's grown, and you can see his quality and what he brings to the team.
Have you witnessed much chat in the squad today from the attacking players, particularly about coming up against someone they know so well and perhaps know his little tricks and foibles?
No, not so much, but everybody here knows, Ben was here, so they respect him and like him a lot, and they know he's a good player, but they'll be looking forward to playing. That's normal. We'll do a bit more work tomorrow and take the challenge on.
And with the Norwich game, when you had 30 shots in the game, but only 4 on target, sorry, how much of that is down to bad luck? How much of it is down to good defending? How much isn't quite good enough?
I would say it's a bit of all those. I wouldn't want to put numbers on it. I would say it's more on us. I think we have to accept that, and we have to take that responsibility. Look, I don't like to use luck so much. There's a little bit of that, but I think some of our shooting in terms of decisions can improve, and then our quality of execution can also improve. I think that's normal. As a coach, you want to try and focus on the things that you can improve, and not necessarily blame things you can't control, such as luck. I think it's about okay, we got there in a decent way. How can we be a little bit more efficient with our final bit?
And I know it's very different here to on a match day, but are you seeing goals flying in during training sessions? Is it, or are you witnessing the same problems on a match day as in training sessions with scoring?
Well, I mean, football, you guys speak about it a lot, and I think it's normal to speak about it, but football generally, as I understand the game, it's 90 minutes and it's quite low scoring. So generally, most people have a challenge with scoring goals. That's the game of football. We're not playing basketball. So, in training you see the quality of the players, but also you understand that the Premier League has Premier League defenders, and it's a low scoring game, and so therefore there's always going to be, I think there's probably a handful of people that can make the difference at the Premier League, that can, score and can do something. And so if there's a handful of people, then that means that the rest haven't got that, and you have to, find a way, struggle, get a bit of luck, maximise everything you can to try to score, and that's what we'll try to do. Just
give us a word on Jakob, how he's reacted to his horrible news this week.
As you can imagine, really, really disappointed and upset and sad, but then at the same time wants to, start his surgery and start the process of rehab and getting back fitter and stronger, which is, of course, what we'll try to do, and we'll support him throughout that.
Thank you.
Graham, is Moises Caicedo in the frame to be available?
Yes, he'll be in the squad. Yeah, he's back. He was ill, so he missed the game at against Norwich, but he's trained this week.
And obviously, unfortunate for Jakob, but are you comfortable with everything you've got in that midfield area? Obviously, Basuma wasn't used either. Moises, you've got Stephen Alzassi. You've still got quite a lot of cover there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an area where we're actually strong numerically and qualitatively, so no concerns. But of course, we miss Jakob.
After last night, it was a pulsating game in the Premier League, Burnley-Everton. You're now 10 points ahead of the relegation zone. Is that gap big enough for you not to be concerned at all about it?
Well, I think from our perspective, you've got to try and look forward, try and look at our own performance, try and get points, try to look at it that way. You can't worry too much about what the others do or think too much about that, because that means you're looking over your shoulder and you're not focusing on what you need to do. Concentrate on our performance. Like I said, the Norwich game was a good performance from us. We need to try to build on that and maintain that and take it forward to the next game, and that's what we'll try to do.
And in terms of Arteta, what he's done there now, are we starting to see his identity on this Arsenal team, do you think?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think they've got stronger and stronger as the season's gone on. Like I said, difficult start. There's things going on. I'm sure it was COVID and things like that, so a little bit of pressure there. So it's nice to see from a coach's perspective that the club supported him and came through that period, and some impressive performances, impressive results. Young side that I'm sure will get better and better as they see it. So no, they've done really well.
And to a certain extent, is there more pressure on them for this than you, perhaps, bearing in mind their aspirations to finish in the top four?
Well, I think there's always pressure. There's always pressure. We've got pressure to get points ourselves. We've had a run, so we want to try and get points and wins as soon as we can. They've got pressure for their own things in terms of the size of the prize. I guess the Champions League is huge, but still we want to win. We feel the pressure ourselves, so it's equal in that regard.
Just to clarify one thing, that Mark mentioned it earlier about, there were some sort of headlines at the beginning of the week in terms of the crowd wanting the team to shoot. I just wonder whether they were sort of slightly misleading from what you'd said, that was actually, it's challenging for the players rather than you'd actually called on the fans not to shoot. It's two very different things.
A misleading newspaper headline?
Clearly it wasn't
no,
for me,
surely
obviously,
not.
Graham, but
surely
yes,
not.
It was a surprise to some when we actually saw that you were sort of the headline, I suppose, rather than the actual. Because when I spoke to you, you were actually very supportive of the fans and what they'd done post-match.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, there's two different conversations here. One about the media and headlines, and there's one about what I actually said. And you're right. I was very. I think the support was brilliant throughout the game, and of course there's a natural, shout to shoot. That's what it is, and then that's a challenge for the players in terms of when to shoot and where to shoot. And that was just a comment that I think you see that in football all over the place, and it's just about understanding that. Really wasn't. I didn't see the headline anyway, but yeah, there was nothing from my perspective to say.